What's going on, beautiful people? Thank you for tuning in and listening and watching my videos. I appreciate your appreciation. One family, one love, one heart. I love every single one of you guys. And one of you guys asked me in the comments, do you think I should microdose without tripping, without having a major psychedelic trip? Do you think I should just start microdosing to increase my productivity and just get those benefits of microdosing, but I without having to trip? Now, what I'm going to provide you in this video is it's just my opinion. Okay, it's just my opinion. That's all it is, my opinion. Because in this specific case, and I have to say that it's an opinion because there's no right or wrong. There absolutely is no right or wrong in this case. People, who work in Silicon Valley are known to microdose, right? Microdosing is the big trend in Silicon Valley because it increases productivity. And most of these guys have never had a major psychedelic trip. A lot of them have never had a major psychedelic trip. It's just they've seen that it's a trend. It's increasing productivity, making people better at work, making people better in their lives, in their relationships at home, with their families, right? And a lot of these guys never had a major psychedelic trip. They saw their peers are doing it. It's a big trend. Everybody's ranting about it, talking about it. It's in the news, microdosing Silicon Valley. So everybody it just becomes a trend, right? So a lot of these guys have never had a major psychedelic trip and they're doing just fine with microdosing. They're doing it's improving their lives, right? This is why I say there's no right or wrong. I'm going to give you my perspective on it. As someone who deeply experimented with high dosages, high major trips that fucking took me out of my body and into the astral realm, and as someone who microdoses on a regular basis as well, right? Just giving you my perspective of these two worlds and what I think, right? So microdosing for someone who hasn't had a major psychedelic trip, a mystical experience, a life-shaking psychedelic trip, is going to improve the quality of your life, but it won't improve it to the same level as someone who's experimented and experienced that ego-dissolving state by having a major trip. If you've had a major trip, several major trips where your ego completely shattered, and when I say ego dissolution, when I say ego dissolution, I'm talking about I forgot my own goddamn name. It took me 5 to 10 seconds to remember my name. And I forgot where I live. I forgot everything because my ego, that identity was no longer there. That's when I talk about a major ego dissolution and an ego dissolving trip. When you've had that kind of mystical experience and you go back to regular, sober, waking consciousness life, and you come back with new understandings from the psychedelic state of mind, and you incorporate them, and then you microdose, it's that microdose almost kicks in all the learnings. It gives you like a boost, kicks in all your learnings from the major psychedelic trip. You see? So it really is taking you to another level that someone who has never had a major psychedelic trip might not get to. It is still improving their lives, increasing their productivity at work, making them more loving people, right? Which is why I say there's no right or wrong here. I'm all in for both. I'm all in for both, actually, right? But if you've had a major psychedelic trip and you've had your ego dissolved and God kicked your ass and told you ain't shit, and then you come back, and then when you microdose, the microdose just kicks in all the lessons. It's almost like you're tripping balls on a major psychedelic trip, but without the tripping balls effect, but still with all the wisdom. Because you've taken that wisdom from major psychedelic trip and you've applied it into who you are, into your psyche, your mind, and your being. And then you microdose. So the microdose kicks in, improves, does all the improvements, enhances your senses, increases your productivity, your focus, your energy level, but also gives you a lot of wisdom. Because this wisdom you've gained from the major psychedelic trip, that wisdom is with you. And that little bit of microdose, that little bit of that psychedelic in you basically takes all that wisdom and just brings it to the surface again. You see? So I think, especially as someone who, I'm assuming you and all of you guys you want to explore the mind, you want to explore the soul, you want to explore life, you're curious minds and curious souls, right? Probably better to go and experience those big trips first. Have how many of them you need. Get the lessons from them. Feel oneness, feel God, speak to fucking angels and go to heaven and go out of your body into the astral realm. Do all of that experimentation. Write down everything, all the lessons, incorporate them. Come back with this new understanding of life. Come back with all this wisdom from that world. Come back from all that love. Incorporate it, and then start microdosing. And then that microdose is just going to take you to the next level. It really will. Because now you have the wisdom and the love and all the thing that comes from the psychedelic state of mind, that ego dissolution, that oneness, that unity, that love, that feelings of everything's going to be all right. Having contact with higher dimensional beings. You come back and then you incorporate, you microdose. See, on a microdose, for me, it's easy to talk to higher dimensional beings. Maybe someone who's in Silicon Valley who has no idea about this stuff, just wants to increase their productivity and increase the quality of their life. They take the microdose, they feel amazing, they feel incredible. They're like, man, this is cool, my life is improving. But because they haven't tapped into these places, that person may not be able to talk and speak to higher dimensional beings, right? This opens you up more to that state, by the way. The microdose opens you up to it. So for me, for example, on microdosing, I can have conversations with higher dimensional beings. It's easy. It opens me up. It opens you up, right? And it's all of this because I've had these major trips. I've had these major psychedelic experiences. Okay? I recommend, that's my own recommendation, an idiot's recommendation to you, someone who just experiments, have a major psychedelic trip first and make sure it's the ego dissolving type of trip. If it's your first ever trip, go watch some of my videos, right? I have videos how to prepare. In your first trip, you don't want it to be too crazy, right? We're talking 2 grams at the most for your first trip. But get to that level at some point. If you're willing, if you want to experiment with psychedelics, that is, right? Get to the point where you have that ego dissolution. Okay, have that. That experience is godly. That experience is mystical. That experience is truth. That experience is love. And I can't describe it. I can try my best to put it in words, but it's an experience. It's a feeling. It's a feeling. And you know what? If you want that feeling, go meditate for 20 fucking years. If you have the time, right? But if you want a quick kick and you want to experience God, you want to talk to God, 5 grams in silent darkness will do that for you. And you will have that experience express. You don't have to wait for delivery. You don't have to wait for shipping. You don't have to wait for shit. It's all inclusive package. A date with God. You can drink wine, smoke blunts, crack some jokes, and get some lessons from God. And then you do the microdosing, and all that wisdom, you've already felt it, you've experienced it, you've incorporated it into your being. It just kicks you to a whole new gear, to a whole new different thing. Where like seriously, like when I microdose, it's meditation is super easy, but also like having contact, talking to spirits and higher dimensional beings and all of that, and asking for guidance is so much easier. But if I had microdosed just without ever experiencing the psychedelic state of mind and really delving into it and experimenting with it, the microdose would improve my life. Just, I don't think to the same level that having, because now you understand the psychedelic state also, right? With taking a microdose without ever tripping, having a major trip, you will feel better, but you won't know why. You'll just feel better. But with understanding the psychedelic state, you'll take that microdose and you'll be like, holy shit, I'm so present in the moment. And you know it to be true. because you've experienced that psychedelic feeling, right? And then you're like, holy shit, I am just part of the universe, right? And just that realization on the microdose, right there and then, you remember when you were tripping balls and had that feeling, it kicks you into that gear immediately. Because you've already had that experience now inside of you, that major psychedelic experience. So you know what's happening. You know, like things like lessons you picked up, change is the only constant in life, they start to kick in right away on the microdose. All that wisdom kicks in. It just right away, the microdose just bubbles it out. So that said, that's what I think having a major psychedelic trip before microdosing is a more optimal way in my opinion, a more optimal way to go on about it. But like I said, there's no right or wrong. As long as it's improving your life, however you want to improve it, I'm all in for both. I'm honestly, personally, all in for both. I'm all in for microdosing without tripping, and I'm all in for tripping and then microdosing, and I'm all in for just tripping big, like Terence McKenna. Terence McKenna didn't like the idea of microdosing and taking small doses. He was all about heroic doses, right? In my mind, in my worldview, both apply. And you just see what you want to do in your own life. What do you want to accomplish out of life? What do you want to accomplish out of this existence, out of this spawn, out of this incarnation? And go with it, man. There's no right or wrong. Just please, no right or wrong, no dogma here. The only thing I'm willing to be dogmatic of is, and I'm going to step my foot on the gas here and say, the truth of life is oneness and love. That I will be dogmatic on for the rest of my life. Anything else, man, come on. Right or wrong, morality, and you know, come on. There's no right or wrong. So that's it. I give you my perspective. Hopefully it helps you. Good luck. Happy tripping. Be safe in your microdosing. Be safe in your tripping. Make sure you do your own research. And I don't endorse you using any psychoactive substances, legal or illegal. This video is made strictly for educational purposes. I'm trying to, spread more awareness, reduce self-harm, and get the perspective of someone who regularly experiments with both methods, right? So that said, God bless you all. As always, don't forget to subscribe or you're going to sleep with the fishes.